All right, it is almost 7 o'clock. We will call the October meeting of the Hartsville-Trousdale County Planning Commission to order. Amber, would you call the roll, please? Here.
Here.
It was.
Here. 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 Here.
Okay. Next is approval of the minutes. We have had the minutes now for a few days. Hopefully everybody's had time to look at those to see if there's any additions or corrections that need to be made to them. Has anybody noticed any additions or corrections that might need to be made? If not, I would accept a motion to approve. Motion by Cal to approve, second by David Thomas. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Does pass unanimously. We do have a addition to the agenda that for some reason y'all didn't take care of last month. Y'all could have got a good one, some good people last month. But it is time to elect our officers for this year. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Excuse me, please. So it is time to elect the officers for this fiscal year. So what officer? We have chairman pro tem,
Secretary.
do we still have secretary? Okay. Okay. So what?
Just waiting for you.
I called on you.
Nominate Johnny Kerr for the chairman.
Figured that. We have a motion on the floor to elect Johnny Kerr chairman and a second. Any discussion, hopefully? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'll do it again. Chairman pro tem.
I nominate Cal Welch.
I'm sorry.
I nominate Cal Welch.
Okay, have a nomination for Cal Welch. Any other nominations? Was you seconded? Okay, Cal has been nominated and seconded. Any other nominations? All right, all in favor of Mr. Welch as Chairman Pro Tem, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Mr. Welch has been railroaded also. And he's now Chairman Pro Tem. And now for Secretary, do we have anyone nominate for Secretary? David?
Amanda Carmen.
Amanda Carmen. Second by Heather. Any other nominations? I ought to nominate you. Yeah, nominate somebody that's not here. That's how it used to be. Any other nominations? Okay, all in favor of Shutter being secretary again, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Shutter, you've been reelected. Unanimously. Yeah. Okay, we do not have a public hearing for tonight, no old business, but we do have some new business. First under our new business is a site plan review. This is for 2 billboards located on McMurray Boulevard West by Michael Sutherland, Scotty Outdoor LLC. Is Mr. Sutherland, Scotty here? Please come to the podium, sir, and kind of tell us what you'd like to do. When you get there, please make sure you state your name so that the minute taker can make sure to get everybody's correct name and everything.
You push the button. There you go.
My name is Michael Sutherland. We're just looking to install 2 billboards on that parcel 500 feet apart. And we feel we meet all the regulations to do so.
I hadn't looked at this. Are they electronic billboards or are they
They're
just
not.
regular billboards?
Yep, they're just the static billboards.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Sutherland?
So will there be any type of electronic lighting up the billboard in the evening?
Yeah, there will be, the signs will be lighted.
Any other questions?
In what capacity? In what capacity? Like what type of illumination will there be? Will it be an
The
illuminated
question
sign?
is, what type of illumination are y'all
The
planning on
lights will
using?
be on the bottom and they will shine up onto the vinyl of the sign.
Y'all go make sure that none of it's directed out into the road. or
Right.
Blind drivers or anything.
Yep, they're LED lights. They, be very good.
Other questions?
So where will you be getting the electricity? Have you already talked with Tri-County Electric on
We-
where the access will be?
We haven't. We have not, and we'll wait for an electrician to pull permits and then decide at that time.
Are we putting the cart before the horse here, Rose? Or do we?
So, when you submitted the plans here, I don't see where it's notated where the lights are gonna be on these plans.
We typically don't ever submit those with the initial billboard plans. If you need the electrician to submit the plans, that's fine. I can have that done. But typically, I've never submitted plans showing the lights on the sign.
Well, we do have, lighting ordinance in the sign ordinances. It does talk about illumination and, how it's
Familiar with
oriented.
our ordinances on that?
I am, yes.
Any other questions for Mr. Sutherland? If not, we'll go to Rosalie for her comments.
So, and I'll have to tell you that Mr. Sutherland has really done his due diligence. When he brought this, initially it was just, building permits he submitted. And in looking at the property, if you notice, looking, at the plat here, it is going on the Ria Dalton property on McMurray Boulevard. And as you can see, on this, there is a flood zone, and then also there is floodway on this piece of property. And when I saw that, I told him that I would need to have a survey done, looking to see, if either one of those signs was going to be in the floodway. And if you look at, we also have given you a copy of what the FEMA flood map, the firm map is, and what it looks like, and where the floodway is. And it's also notated here on this site plan that Carmen Surveying did for him. So the dotted lines that you see down there at the lower right indicated the floodway. And so that sign was moved out of the floodway. And there is 500 feet in between the 2 billboards there along McMurray Boulevard. He has also worked with TDOT and making sure that they're not in the right of way. He is in the flood zone AE. Now, in looking at the engineered drawing that he's giving me, he made sure that it was according to the 2018 IBC, which is what we're following currently. And so all the different stresses and everything have been notated on this. The only concern that I may have is that they are going to be having some electrical service. But again, I'm sure it's going to be done safely. You have an engineer that's going to be, and an electrician that's going to be working on this. So as they are pulling the permit and also pulling an electrical permit through the state, they will make sure that everything is properly grounded and insulated so that there's not any concern with that. And thank you so much for saying that it's going to be LED lights. And as long as we can make sure that it is pointing strictly just at the billboard. In the past, there have been some times where someone has installed an LED light, and unfortunately, it points right out into the road, and it has affected the night sight of some drivers, and we've had some concerns about that. So again, he has done a lot of due diligence with this. I will point your attention to the staff report that Amanda put together when she evaluated this project. And she's gone line by line on what our sign ordinance is and how he's met these different regulations. So in any zoning district, it says no sign can be erected or maintained whereby a reason of its position, wording, illumination, size, shape, or color, it may obstruct, impair, obscure, interfere with the view of, or be confused with any authorized traffic control signal, sign, device, or emergency vehicle. So her finding is that the proposed placements are not close to any traffic signals in the immediate vicinity. Again, drawing your attention back to the site plan for these billboards, it does show the distance away from the next available traffic signal. Item number 2, no illuminated sign shall be permitted within 50 feet of property in any residential district. Again, talking about where this property is, you know, it's along Highway 25. It is zoned A1. The surrounding property, there is not a residential district next to this property. Item number 3, no billboard or ground sign shall be erected to exceed the maximum height. Finding again is that the billboards are compliant in size, and it does notate that they are in the special flood hazard area AE. Item number 4, billboards and similar outdoor advertising structures shall be erected or placed in conformity with the side, front, and rear yard requirements. Her finding for this one, requirement's been met. Item number 5, outdoor signs, including flashing or intermittent illumination. This sign does not have that. Number 6, signs erected and overhanging on any sidewalk. Again, there is not a sidewalk in that area, and it's out of the right of way because that is a state road. Item number 7, professional signs and signs for home occupation shall not exceed. So this is not dealing with that, so everything is fine there. So in commercial districts, and just that along that area right there, there is that corridor of commercial. Business signs shall be coordinated with the architecture. Again, if you look at the engineered drawings, it's very simple. It's not going to detract from anything. Item number 2, bulletin boards, this requirement's not applicable. 3, 1 business sign directly relating, there is not a business on that property. And then number 4, the requirement has been satisfied. When talking, there is 500 feet in between the 2 billboards. Item number 6, and it says all ground sign support shall be located no closer than 10 feet from any public right-of-way or property line. And it says this requirement has been met. And 7 and 8, that's not applicable. So here are the findings that Amanda found within our sign ordinances that she had there.
Y'all's recommendation? Ms. Rosalie?
We don't see an issue with this.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Rosalie? Yes, sir.
So I know he's got them 500 foot apart that he's building, but with with the way the ordinance is reading, does the one to the west have to be 500 from the one on Sloan's property that's already existing?
It does not. These are two billboards. No, it does not.
So it's not that they have to be, all billboards have to be 500 foot apart. It's just that billboards on the same property have to be 500 apart?
Parcel, on each parcel.
Other questions? Okay. Do I have any motions? Mr. Nolan,
I make most,
to approve?
yeah.
Have a motion from Mr. Nolan to approve, second by Ms. Bay. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Was there just one no? Everybody was an aye except Amanda. Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next under new business is a site plan for 850 River Valley Drive on 1.24 acres by Cody Joe Haynes and Mr. Trent Mossen for 9 townhomes. If either Mr. Haynes or Mr. Mossen's here to speak to this, please come up.
Good evening. I'm Cody Joe Haynes.
All right, Mr. Haynes, just kind of tell us what you and Mr. Mossen would like to do there.
We've been working on the property for a while, but the goal is to have 9 townhomes available to sell. Of course, we'll kind of do them in phases. So we'll start on the back portion as we build them and work our way to the front. We're not going to build them all at one, single
Kind of
time.
do it in
but
phases.
Do it in phases, but we plan the development to be done
Right,
completely
right.
In the first phase and meet whatever standard we can for y'all to build some affordable housing that'll hopefully sell in this area. So.
Okay. And I've noticed on the application, will be on sewer,
That is correct.
water and sewers, which is, that's a big plus down that road.
Yeah, we could fit 12 on the property, but the parking and everything, it's just really tight and setbacks and retaining walls are enough as it is. And we just we want it to look good. I don't want it to be too tight.
Instead of squeezing it in,
Yeah,
you have a
absolutely.
nice place for.
Definitely.
to live.
People like a little wider home. I don't want to just do tall, skinny townhomes that are,
Yeah.
cookie cutter type situations. So.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Questions for Mr. Haynes? Any questions? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I do want to note that I did notice on here that to obtain the hydrant data from the utility prior. So if you will reach with them, you've already got that on your data, on your.
We've talked to utility department on it. As far as adding a hydrant, they haven't mentioned that to me, but I will definitely reach out to them to be sure if we need to add a hydrant for some reason. There is a hydrant on the property next door, which we own, but given the circumstances, the amount of homes, they may require another one. So
That would be the concern. Yeah.
that's smart. I'll reach out to them and see what
Thank
they
you.
say. Definitely. We'll be willing to add that. No problem.
Actually, if you go and look at C2, which is the proposed site plan, there is a fire hydrant notated on the site plan to the top.
That they're putting, that's there or they're going to be added? That will be added. So Rosalie says on the site plan, there's already a listing for a fire hydrant that they will be adding. Yes, sir.
Water runoff, has been checked?
Stormwater.
Stormwater, yeah.
I'm so glad you asked that question, Mr. Nollner. Before they brought the site plan to you, I asked them to go and get stormwater engineering. So this whole packet is geared towards addressing any stormwater concerns. You'll see detention ponds here. They've got, different elevations there. They have done their due diligence. They've worked with Warren and Tuggle to do this. Not only do they have a site plan here, they have an erosion control plan. And, so you have that all in front of you.
I'm probably blind, but I don't see a mailbox thing. I said I was blind. Oh, I was, okay. I'm sure they did. I just on the wrong page. All right. If there's no questions for Mr. Haynes, we'll move on to Ms. Rosalie. If you have a question, yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't have a question. Looking at all the information that's before us and Rosalie already addressing the retaining ponds and stormwater runoff, I was ready to make a motion.
Well, let's see if she's got anything else to add. Do you have anything else? I hate to cut her short, you know, it's her time.
So tall. So, in looking at these plans, and I did a good review before, we put this on the agenda. They have met all the different, things that we've required before in the past of site plans, of developments coming in, addressing stormwater. Again, the planning commission during the subdivision development, this is the only ordinances where we have stormwater concerns that you're able to make sure that that issue is addressed, and they have addressed this.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good site plan. Covers everything. Y'all did an excellent job.
Thank you, thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Rosalie? Mr. Thomas?
Well, I'd like to thank the gentleman for all the information that he's provided and the due diligence that he's done as far as the water runoff. I think that'll actually make your property more sellable and will definitely help your property below when you go to build it. That all being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve this, with the caveat that he still reaches out to the utility on the, fire hydrant if he needs to have that done or not.
So we have a motion before us to approve, with the, caveat that he checks with the utility district about the fire hydrant.
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Welch. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, next on our agenda is a plat amendment. This is to update us on phases 2 and 3 for the Rockwall RV Park. This is down at 231. This is about the 10 acres by Mr. Barber, Chris Barber. And it's in the 6th Civil District. Mr. Barber, are you here, sir? Haven't seen you in a while. I have to tell you, really got a nice looking place up there.
Thank you, appreciate
Did a
it.
good job with it.
Chris Barber, owner of Rockwall RV Park.
My cousin actually stayed there last summer for, I don't know, about a week. He told me.
I remember, yes.
Mr. Barber, go ahead and tell us what you'd like to do, please.
What we'd like to do is switch our phases because we've literally run into a rock the size of Mount Vesuvius. And we're gonna have to either go through it or go around it. But we want to keep going, you know, to do everything. So this would speed things up if we can continue building our eatery.
So what you're wanting to do is what you originally had as phase 2, you want to move phase 3 up to phase 2. So
Yes.
you don't have to get a whole lot of C4 and stuff and go in there and blow that rock. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Barber? Ms. Rosalie?
Thank you, sir. So in looking at the site plan, just wanted to let you know, as soon as Mr. Barber had finished phase one, I came and gave you an update and covered all the different items that we had asked him to make sure that he covered. He did and went beyond. In our ordinance, it required like water for 4 stalls. He has water almost every stall there. I mean, he went above and beyond. He has, if you've been up there, the landscaping buffer is in the process of continually growing. I know that was another thing that I was going to be talking about later on with some of the things that have approved. If you go and look at establishments that have had buffer strips, some of the buffer strips are looking rather poor, as in they did not survive. Mr. Barber's has survived. He has made sure that he's maintained those. In reviewing what Amanda Harrington had says about this, she said her recommendation is to have this pass. He is making all the adjustments. So in looking at this, there has been just a few tweaks as far as orientation of some of the lots. It made it easier for new maneuverability to, instead of having like 2 rows here in phase one, it is 1 row that kind of goes around the perimeter. It still is well within what he's able to do, and he is not on the gas line easement. Believe me, that has been a concern here recently, because there have been people that have kind of had some things in a gas line easement. Mr. Barber has not. Thank you very much. So both Amanda Harrington and myself recommend approval.
Questions for Rosalie? Motions? I just like to say, as someone who voted against Mr. Barber when he first brought this item to us, he won me over. He's done a great job with what he's got. And I'm going to make a motion that we approve this. I don't mind admitting I was wrong. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Thomas. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass unanimously. Thank you, sir. Next, we have a preliminary plat of a major subdivision on Morrison Street by Dennis Goke. I hope I'm saying, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
But he's not here.
that's fine. I just like to make sure hopefully I
Yeah,
got it
just-
right.
Just like Coke, except with a G.
Okay. So Jim's here to present this to us.
So
Mr. Carmel?
Mr. Goke is looking at subdividing 6 lots up on Morrison Street. We looked at this last month in a sketch plat fashion. And I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions for Jim? I know Mr. Goke has brought a few things before us before about how to develop his property up there. This looks like the most feasible one that he's brought to us, in my opinion. Straight lots, there's water and sewer and everything up there. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
And so anybody have any questions for Jim before we go to Rosalie? Do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Based on the current water status for that area, has there been conversation about that pump house?
Yes, no, he understands. He's gonna have to put in a pump. He understands
gonna
that.
have to
That's
upgrade the
going,
pump house?
that's going through engineering right now, yes.
Okay, and then he'll have to connect the sewer himself, but he does have that.
I'm sorry.
He does have the sewer, there is sewer down there, he's just.
Yes, there's sewer up even
And
further
that's
up past
That's
us.
looking like it's gonna need a pump too, it could need a
Hey,
pump.
it may need, it could possibly need, just depending on how the lines go in from the houses, they could possibly need residential individual pumps, but
Right.
they're not looking at any big pump system for the overall development or anything like that. It would probably depend on each individual house, how the flow's gonna go and hit the existing line.
Just want to note that on record. Thank you.
No
Appreciate it.
problem.
Jim?
Yeah.
Have they got Morrison Street widened so they get the buses or fire engines down through there?
No, I don't have any idea about that.
That would be what's his name? Mr. Scruggs' question. He's in charge of that. Mr. Goat's not in charge of that.
I just know, it's just.
I assume they have to go up and down through there right now anyway, so. Okay.
Right now, if some people with children
Yeah.
live here. Okay, so even if, right now, there's a collection point, but it's not up there. Okay. Because I do know that once you get 2 or 3 homes in there with some more kids, they don't mind coming and asking for door-to-door pickup. But that's irrelevant to this conversation. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
And once again, I might be blind, but I didn't see any notation of a fire hydrant along that 6-inch line.
Yes, sir. It probably would not fit exactly on the plat. There's one just south of us down there where the tank is at the intersection of Green Top. And then there's one past us, which would sit up here in the location sketch, around that curve right there. So we meet the 500-foot requirement from both directions with no issue.
Good question. Other questions? Ms. Rosalie?
Thank you, sir. So, I do have because this is just part of a very large parcel of land, we do have the legal description of what exactly this, will be dealing with as far as the amount of acreage on that parcel of land. In speaking with the water department, I did speak with Tony Crook. There are fire hydrants there. They do not provide the 500 gallons per minute though. So as far as like official fire protection, that is not going to be those fire hydrants, but they are up there. Yes, sir.
So with the pump system that he's having to put in, would that then it still won't have it?
No. So with what we have in our ordinance for what a preliminary plat needs to provide, Amanda has looked and evaluated all of this, and she does recommend approval of the preliminary plat. I see where we may have a little concern about fire protection with the fire tanker truck. Is that what we call it? It eludes me. May have a concern getting up there. Just want to point that out.
Mr. Nolan?
What about the water runoff?
So as far as the water runoff for this, what they're doing here, he says whatever that we want him to do, he is willing to do that. There is still quite a bit of land in between this development right here and the property down on Church Street. So as far as water runoff, what would you like him to do?
Be able to control it or when he's building those houses, fix it where it won't be running off down into Church Street, flooding that little creek coming down through there.
So in these type of situations, I will recommend and require them to have a silt fence around all of their different construction concerns. This also brings out the highlight where we need to have some stormwater ordinances dealing strictly with individual constructions. It is mentioned in the ICC codes. And I hope that we start working on adopting that into the individual construction sites as well.
So what you're saying is right now, Trousdale County doesn't have the sufficient codes approved for that.
We don't have ordinances that deal strictly with stormwater. Now, it is in the building codes on how each individual has to control that.
Okay. Other question? Yes, sir.
So Rosalie, can we respectfully request, since there's not an ordinance stating so, can we respectfully request that he do a holding pond in the middle of his property there to collect any water that would come off these lots coming down the hill there? It'd be best for his property also that he might want to build something on the Church Street side. We kind of slow that water up, collect it, let it dissipate.
So with you being the planning commission and dealing with the subdivision of these lots, I believe you do have the authority to request that they do have some type of retention pond to control stormwater runoff.
I would think that would come in the making of a motion. Am I right? Other questions? No more questions? Mr. Thomas?
Then I'd like to make a motion to approve with the adding of the retention pond, collecting the water from Morrison Street properties.
Okay, we have a motion to approve this subdivision on the condition that a collection pond is put in between here and the Church Street property to collect stormwater runoff. Did I state that correctly? Do I have a second? Second by Amanda. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no.
No,
Did you say no? Okay, we have 5 yes, 2 no. Mr. Noller and Moose voting no. The rest were yes. Am I right? The rest were yeses? Okay. All right. What was that? Oh. All right, we are ready for Mr. Rick Gregory. Rick was our planner for a few years and he knows more about this than anybody I've ever known. And he has been tasked with the job of combining the old city of Hartsville zoning regulations with Trousdale County zoning regulations into one document, into one more easily accessible and fair document. So, Mr. Gregory, if you'd like to tell us kind of what you got.
Before we address this, I do want to let everyone know that I did appreciate us actually postponing for a month. The way the state sets this up is before we do anything as a commission for the full county, final, whatever we put forward has to come here. And it did give us time to get some of Randy Bell, the county attorney, wanted to make sure some things were put in there. So what you're going to get to see and what we're looking at tonight is actually what's going to the full commission. If anything gets changed to the full commission, it will come back to this body to be seen before it can be put into the final, whatever gets actually adopted has to be viewed by this body first.
And so our county attorney, Mr. Bell, has looked at this. it now meets his, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Rick?
Do I need to sign?
You're good.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. The ordinances that I started working from were in good shape. William Beasy did a good job for the county back when he developed those ordinances. But through the years, things have gotten added in and changes made, and they were not as I guess, useful as they might have been. They were a little bit sporadic in places and how the uses were assigned to the different zoning districts and what have you. There was a little bit of disagreement as we went through between the old city and the county ordinances as far as things like setbacks, types of uses to be expected in the commercial districts and those kinds of things. So we worked through, the committee and I worked through those issues through the months that we've been at it. And the document that's been provided to you is a pretty good representation of how we went about combining those documents. And we didn't make any wholesale changes. My task was to combine and not to reinvent, and we didn't do that. The highlights, I just made a cheat sheet for myself. We went through the definitions and blended those from both existing ordinances to make one inclusive set of definitions. We added a section of use classification that was not there previously. The old ordinances, the ones that you're working from now, if you look at residential districts or commercial districts or industrial districts, they all have a list of uses that are permitted or special exceptions in each individual district. So you have to thumb through the body of the ordinance to find that part that you're looking for to know what use is permitted or permitted on appeal or special exception. So we created a use matrix. It wound up being a 2-page use matrix that consolidates the different use categories. And in order to make that matrix work, there has to be a use classification section that explains what types of uses are found in each different category, like general retail or agricultural uses, what have you. The different use categories are reflected in the use matrix. And that's going to be found in an appendix that's to be adopted as the ordinance itself is adopted. The general provisions section was blended using the different provisions to reflect one set of general provisions for what was the old city and county ordinances. Now there's a general provision section to incorporate both of those ordinances into one set of general provisions. Supplementary provisions, those presented a little bit more of a challenge. They're reconciled, and the differing requirements for the two different ordinances were taken into consideration. But in some instances, and I use mobile home parks as an example, the differences were so well established that it was difficult to break them apart. So in the body of the ordinance, there will be a set of standards for developing a mobile home park in what was the city of Hartsville, but would now be considered the urban services district. And another set of standards, development standards for a mobile home park in what was the county and now the general services district. So those two stand apart. There are a couple of other things like that was difficult to put together under one heading to make sense of it. So we left them sort of stand alone and continue on as they had been instead of trying to consolidate the two. And I didn't see a good way out of that blind alley. So that stands within the consolidated ordinance. The zoning district section, those are distinguished between the urban services with an H in front of the zoning, the current zoning districts. For Hartsville, no longer exists, but urban services is designated as H, and general services is designated as T in front of the zoning districts in the old county portion of the county. There's an added planned unit development district section for residential and commercial mixed use. There's not a straight commercial planned unit development. The commercial portion of that PUD or planned unit development section also has the ability to house residences. There can be a consolidation of commercial and residential uses within a commercial mixed-use PUD. And the difference in how the PUD works and how you see development currently is if someone wants to do a residential or a mixed-use PUD, they start the process as they do now with the request of the planning commission, but in addition, with the PUD in place, they're asked to bring a site plan that is site plan specific for that property, for that development. And if approved, stays with that development for the life of the development. It travels with it, can be changed, but if it's changed, it goes back through the same process. The process starts over again to go back to the planning commission to be reviewed as effectively a new zoning request, and the new PUD plan would replace the existing PUD plan. And that happens. Sometimes people run into development issues they hadn't anticipated, funding issues. They can't get loans approved on time to get the project started. So for whatever reason, sometimes the PUD developments will just languish. They won't go through. And by the time they're ready to start again, things have changed. The market has changed. The ownership has changed. And the PUD is not dependent, when you approve it, it is not dependent on a particular owner presenting it to the county for approval. It depends on the plan. It's plan certain and stays with that development project, with that development plan approval until it's changed. And if it does change, like I said, it goes back to the planning commission to start the process over, travels through to the county commission with the plan itself, and that plan then replaces the current plan and would be in effect until it is changed. Move the floodplain regulations to an appendix. That, I think, cleans it up, keeps it separate from the body of the document, and the next time the flood regulations are changed, then you just have to change them within that appendix and by reference. You don't have to go through the process of amending the document itself, the zoning resolution itself, and maybe messing with the numbering scheme, or, introducing a way to bring an error or an omission when you're going through that process. Exceptions and modifications, reconcile that to encompass both jurisdictions' requirements. For the most part, that remains unchanged. There's not a lot that goes on within that section that had to be changed. Administration and enforcement, sort of the same deal, reconcile for both jurisdictions and largely unchanged. Added Appendix A, which will be the use matrix that identifies the different use categories within the different zoning districts. It lists the uses themselves and the zone districts that they apply to, and is easy to understand when someone looks at it, and they can figure out what, for instance, administrative services are allowed as a special exception in 3 different zones in the county, 4 different zones in the urban services, and permitted in 2 zones in the urban services. And if you have further questions, you go into the use categories to figure out what uses are specifically allowed within that category. Appendix B is a table for the bulk regulations, setbacks, height, width, size, all those things that are found in the different zoning districts now, that if you need to know how wide a lot needs to be in the R1 district, now you can look at the matrix in the Appendix B and know which lot, which area, which zone that applies to. You don't have to fumble through the ordinance itself. You've got again, a 2-page matrix that lays out the different sizes, heights, widths, depths, area, those kinds of things. And Appendix C is the floodplain regulations that are removed out of the body of the document into a separate appendix to follow the body of the document itself. And someone asked about the size of the document. I'm showing it at 132 pages now. And when it's all put together, that probably will be reduced a little bit. At one time, it was 128 pages, and we went back and added in the things that have changed since we started with the different ordinances that have been adopted in the meantime and brought that up to date. I've been in contact with the county attorney, and he had a suggestion for agricultural language that helps strengthen the way that agricultural uses are recognized in the county. And he is comfortable with the change that we made, and that's included in the body of the document. You don't have the total document in front of you tonight. That's on the way, but as far as changes, additions, modifications, we're pretty well finished with the process. I think you've got a good document to work from. Questions?
Anybody have any questions for Rick? One comment, again, I'd like to thank you for all the hard work. I know you've been paid to do it, but it's still, it's a big job. And on behalf of the Planning Commission, I'd like to thank you for the hard work that you put in.
Thank you.
You're the best one that I would have ever known of to get this done for us. So I appreciate it. Now, do we need to pass this, or what do we need to do with it, David?
My understanding is it needs to be brought before, until we give you guys, can give you a full copy. Because if we bring it to commission and the commission decides, hey, we want to change this language or here or there, well, it's going to have to come back to you guys again. And as I said, it's 138 pages, that's a lot of trees killed. So, he's got it up on the board, if there's any specific section you would like to see, we can pull that up, on the monitors. The main thing I'm worried with ready is when the code and zoning took this up, I, as a chairman, what I stated out as the goal is I did not want to create any new ordinances. So if we combine these two, if there's a conflict, the charter says more restrictive, swings that, so that's what we did. Things that are not in the ordinance, this is a new document versus what we currently have, is because state law says you can't do that anymore. And then it was never updated. And so those changes have been made. So this particular document, and what Mr. Beller was adding was, we just got this, whole thing with lawsuit on quarries and all, have that victory. There's no sense in letting different language, sit in there and give up that, that ground that we've already gained. So those were some of the things that we've done there. I'm actually really happy with the document and really proud of the matrix he's talking about. We have kind of a rudimentary version of that had already passed the ordinance that kind of gave you just a basic of, what zoning went where. He took that and then just blew it out to cover everything that you could think of putting in for the most part. You can't think of everything, but for the most part.
I think this is probably the most important thing that planning, that zoning, for planning for Travis County has taken on many years. And it's going to streamline things for the future. And if any of us have any full connections in the county commission, please, use it, because this is going to simplify things for the planning office and for both BZA for the planning commission for the future. So,
And since you brought up the planning for the future, what came out of Codes and Zoning's last month's meeting was a request for this body to take up a revised general plan to update our current, overall plan. Rick helped me with the wording on that of which ones, but, instead of doing what was it, the primary?
The growth plan.
Instead of the growth plan, which we already have an outdated one in place, we can do a general plan inside that and not have to deal with the state. Something we can do in-house. Now granted, no one expects this body to do it solely. We would have to find someone who would be willing to do that. Speaking with Amanda, since we already have our own staff, she was very excited about the opportunity to look at.
when we interviewed her, she talked about doing things like that. Yeah.
So I think that would be something that since we already have our own staff, granted, it'd have to be extra funds put towards for that project. But I think that's something that we can, with the support of this body, take the budget and finance and get the money moved over. She's supposed to be kind of looking over everything and what it's gonna take to kind of give us an idea of a budget of what that project will cost. GRC did this at 30,000 originally when Mayor Chambers was trying to do that. That kind of fell apart, and some of that money was actually used to pay Rick for this part, which I think this part kind of helps in that plan, getting all this cleaned up. Now we go forward with what goes into those zones and
My
how.
suggestion would probably, let's get this passed first. Let's walk before we run. And, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it's good to hit the county court too much off. Again, we need to, when do you want to present this to the commission?
So the full commission, hopefully, this month during work session, Rick will be able to come up next Monday and introduce this to them. Let them, discuss it. If the attorney, the county attorney has any other input, we can address that then. Any commissioner input, questions, whatnot, we can address that. And it won't go to the full commission, it will go to another work session for November. And then from there, if there's no other issues and everyone's happy with the document, then we can take it on to vote. Now,
That would be January, y'all will meet in December.
so January the 1st, so our December meeting, you will get the final copy before it's voted on in January.
So that we need to go.
I just wanted to present,
No, that's good. If
I-
it would look better if we could say, we pass this.
if you wanted it as a preliminary, approval of the way the document sits, that'd be great. But knowing that it's going to come back before it's final vote.
If you think that would help, I don't think it hurts. Okay. So would anybody like to make a motion that we, pass this preliminary, version of the, new zoning regulations? Is that the way you would say it?
Yeah.
Mr. Nom? Motion by Mr. Nom, second. Second by Mr. Welch, discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass unanimously. Mr. Thomas, did you say it passed unanimously to the planning commission? Okay. Rick, again, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Anybody got anything else to come before the planning commission tonight? We have a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Nolan. Amanda seconded. We are adjourned. Thank y'all.